Okay. Um, as always, I think it is important for me to continuously put things in perspective. I'm a target individual. As you can see, I still have a mask on, but I know everybody knows who are in my life or whatever involved in my targeting. Know that who I am, but I still not gonna make it easy. Um, I just want to continuously say what needs to be said. It is disturbing to hear these perps addressing me and interacting with me that I know what they're involved in as they try to live that fantasy. They make the mistake sometimes to think that I let them escape, that I will let them escape into whatever fantasy they put together. I know there'll be a time when I will never be able to speak. So I'm speaking now, and I make sure I'm clear now. These trash are very cowardly. I mean, cowardness is a lifestyle for them. And it's okay because this is what they need. Um, Let me introduce myself quickly. I'm what you call a target individual. I'm a human subject. Human subject meaning that meaning that I'm a test subject for these entities that are coming from the governmental agencies. We talk about DARPA, DoD, CIA, those kind of entities. And what's happening to us is as target individual, we get some of the most sophisticated technology implemented onto us, but for the worst ways, because at this point it's used as a weapon, like in the thing, right? It's meant to destroy our life, but using this technology. Now, people ask, why would the government want to destroy your life? And this is because we're human subject and samples are needed. Machine learning technology is technology that where the more samples, the better it gets. And then you hear these perps, and you have perps who are contracted civilians by the government who are interacting with you via this technology. They use V2K, voice to skull, where they can project their voices onto your brain. And their job is to, as they do this disturbing manipulation, which I will talk about, of your brains and your body, their job is to try to create this fantasy, this psyop, where they, with these psyops, with these ways of trying to create these storylines, where you somehow supposed to think that this is something else but this massive government running this program, which come from these entities, these agencies. And this trash interacting with you are just the bottom feeders. They are not people who are the shaker or the mover of this program. And some of them are actually children, or sound like children, or barely adults. So that should be an indication that the people interacting with you are just doing nothing. Now, with that being said, you're still a subject, a human subject, and so they can do so much to you, utilizing so much of this technology and the resources, because law enforcement is involved, hospitals are involved, any institutions are involved. All this, anything that's related to governmental and entities are involved, right? Because this is ran by the government and they contract this trash. They're just perps. And while they do these things to you, at that point, they make themselves believe, or, because of the ability of what this technology can do, try to create this fantasy of them thinking that they're gods when they're just the trash. They can't even speak about certain things. I mean, the bare minimum. But as a human subject, you are forced to be dealing with the nastiest things and everybody around you. But for me and everybody around you, this ecosystem is forced to push you into accepting this. But for me, the humiliations of reality. It's not that I've tortured them. It's not that I've done things to them. I haven't even said things to them directly. Sometimes I've just said something just pretending to be on the call with somebody. And that'll be enough to put them back to the reality. And that's just kind of like a quick indication of reality. I know that the people responsible for me being in this program are employers of mine at some point. Currently, I'm employed, but there is people who employed me currently are just perps. They employ me in the sense that they were employing me to torment me and participate in my targeting. But initial employer put me in this program. And that alone have humiliated this psyop that is presented by me. And they try to make it seem like they're this avenging and you're gonna die for it. When this trash, this bottom feeders, this nasty shit, I'm sorry for the language I'm using, but there's nothing better to describe them. They want it to sound fierce. They want to sound in this like they, when the reality of how cowardly these people are is just not even you can't even imagine the level of cowardness these people have to become to be involved in this, because this is a technology that does things remotely, but to who they have done it to, you couldn't even understand that even infants, children of all ages being tortured by this low life talking to you, who tell you how you're going to pay for it. But the humiliation of reality is another level. They're in a program that tortures the most vulnerable. I mean, infants are tortured in ways you can't even understand, because this technology does things to you in ways that are just almost unbelievable. And you hear this trash, the cowards that they are, trying to live this fantasy. And I'm looking at this man. It's like, you're gonna die for it. Trash. You're a low life trash. You pray that you continue to live life covering up reality. You live this disturbing life and you think nothing's gonna happen to you. Death comes to all of us. There is no theater of torture that I'm gonna experience that can cover and block the reality of what you're actually in. You think that's going to change? Because of the psyop, they try to compensate from reality. I was put in this program by this employer who is extremely conservative, and these people who are now trying to create this psyop, and I think the psyop was created to counter and to block the reality of who put me in this program. They think if they present themselves in this fashion, that I'm gonna forget who put me in this program and who these people are and what they've done and who they've even donated money to the point where today these people cannot speak the name of a special person. And to counter that, they try to create this psyop of this femme fatale feminists that in reality are in a program that does so much horrible things to women, but not only women, but children. In every way you look at these low lives, there is nothing dignified. There is nothing fierce. They try to sound a certain way. It's like, now you're going to prove, now you're going to die, we proved it. Because what they do is they manipulate your brain in so many disgusting ways. 2 seconds ago, it's not 2 seconds literally, but earlier I was in bed. And they start making me think about me and a woman and start creating sexual stimulations. And there's nothing wrong if it was not because they were manipulating me. But I knew that they were going to do this because they wanted to transfer that somewhere with children. They have these disgusting tactics of using pedophilia to break you down, which they call war. They are nasty low lives. And they want you to be subscriptive of it. It's like, now we proved it. You hear testimonials from people all around the world specifically saying that they do the pedophilia type of torture. That terminology that I'm saying, pedophilia type of torture, it has been said by somebody who has nothing to do with me. Literally using this term. Literally showing the pure correlation that these tactics are used, right? And they use these childlike people who claim it to be a war, which is, they've said that to even women. Single woman by herself, like, we are war. They're not a war. We are guinea pigs. We're test subjects. And as test subjects, they have a goal of breaking you down. It's like me being with some kind of test subject of some sort and say, I'm at war with you, whatever. But they use childlike mentalities of that sort to try to make themselves believe that, no, we are at war. You're not at war. Like I said, these people are at war with just everything but me or any target individual. They are at war with reality, rationality, just being logical, logicalness. I'm not even going to say conscious. I don't care about that. But just like, because the things they do, and they wanted to look at themselves and still respect themselves. They tell themselves, we are at war. No, you're not. You are currently wearing your PJ bottoms. You're not. This program is massive. Everywhere I go, there'll be a bunch of people. They're not war. I'm a top test subject. They're supposed to push me to insanity. There's children, babies involved in the same things to you, like you just like because this technology can manipulate people, right? And you see this when they involve these little kids, it's like they are war too because you use this tonality, and there's the way they make themselves sound, and you see who's talking to you, and you're like, you were talking to me like this via V2K. What happened? Trash. You see who's talking to you, just some nothings. But when they go into that fantasy lands, like, you're not a war. You're the trash the government use. You truly are trash. And you are trashing me, but you are trash. They do these things. And they stimulate me, making me think of like sexual moments with women. And stimulate me. And I'm like, oh, I know where this is going to go. Like I said, transferring, they're going to make me think about kids at one point. I'm like, oh, I'm already like stopping. It's like, please, I know this is going to go somewhere else. I don't know when, but they don't do this just to, they want you to think about women. No, they are at war. Meaning they want you to think about children in a sexual way. It is disgusting. So I'm like, oh, okay. Try to get my mind out of that because they're going to move this thing. I go on Netflix. I'm looking at all the new movies. I see like something where this little girl, I'm like, oh, the stimulation they were making me have earlier was just meant for me to be aimed toward this kid. And they knew these things because they control you. And you hear this trash talking to you. It's like, they use these childlike individuals. When you look at them, it's like, you have no fucking idea what's going to happen to you, huh? But to me, you can tell me everything. It's like, you look at them, it's like, wow. I'm going to say, it's like, these entities have empowered you to feel so special, but you're nothing. They try to sound a certain way. They try to make themselves be like, there is no mistake about what you are. And you're just a bottom feeder here. I understand. You can tell me so much. They try to live off with this false mistake. I understand the government is using us target individuals in these ways of just everything we experience is being orchestrated. They will do so much horrible things to me, but they've done it to others who literally say the same thing. And they try to be mistakeful still. Let me press pretty. You see what you're doing to me? Boom. And they still try to make themselves laugh. There's nothing mistakeful. I'm hearing what you're going to do to me. Trash. And they're like, you're nothing. You listen to who's talking to you. It's like, oh my goodness. I don't mean to be insultive just for the sake of it, but you hear these people and they truly sound like childlike nothingness. Oh, it's like, Jesus, did you hear yourself? You see this Dongoro, and they're like, you're nothing. It's like, I'd rather fucking rot in hell than be whatever you are. I'd rather starve to death and smell like shit outside than having to do what you do. They humiliate this child. I work with people in clientele, and these people don't even want they because these perps here, they work 24/7 doing this falseness. And I can see some people just being glad that, like they will never do what they do, but they try to hype them up. There's this man who's literally saying, oh, where's my kid? I have a few kids I can sell to because these people, right, include childlike individuals. And I'm like, these parents who let their kids be involved in that, they basically sold their soul to these governmental entities, but even their children's soul. They sold their children to the government to participate in this nastiness. Because some of them literally said they're going to frame me, and some childlike individual's going to say something. And I'm like, what kind of parent will even let that happen? What kind of self-respecting man or woman with kids would be like, hey, my child, let's do this. We're gonna frame this. We're gonna say he did something to you. We're gonna come up with some stories, and look at themselves like they're normal. This is embarrassing, humiliations. You're not at war. You're just trash who are opportunists. There's probably incentives, financial and others, and you want to take advantage of those incentives. You trash ass low life. You want this or something. Good, you are at war, trash. You can even say the name of pedophiles. And those entities contracting this trash to be at war, filled with pedophiles. These agencies have so many, and they're the one in charge, not this trash next door. That's what they say. They are childlike individuals, like kids who live these fictional things. And adults like we are. It's like, my friend, you can't even say the name of this pedophile. You are just an opportunist. There's incentives here. I know what I am here. I'm a subject. They need more people, subjects, so they can continuously improve this technology that is meant to destroy people's life at this point, but they can do so much good too. But on us, it's meant to destroy us. And they get whatever results, which in the future could maybe implement it in a good way. But for now, it's utilized to weaponize your own brain, your body, destroy your brain. So sometimes they do things to my body and then fix the things they do to me. So I feel better the next day. It's like they do things to you and it can make you feel better at the same time. But they're fixing what they did to you. Then it's not like they saw something that was like happening to your body and then fix it. No, they do something to your body and you feel weird, and then the next day you feel better. You feel kind of a little bit hurting or whatever, and then it feels better. So you truly are a guinea pig. And they're like, now we are at war. And then they do this psychological torment, which they want you to identify with, which is this pedophilia things. It's non-stop. And then try to make you identify with me. It's kids of all sorts, but especially little girls. Oh, that's when they're like, oh, we mapped it to you when you were a child. No, it's what you do is the pedophilia type of torture, which you try to use those things. To me, my theory, this is me speculating at this point, I don't know. The facts are, they do the pedophilia type of torture to make me experience the disgusting things. That's the fact. But what I think they do this for is maybe for them too, as they do these things to us, they want to dehumanize us and create this disturbingness in order for them to do what they do and feel comfortable and okay to do what they do. But I don't know if it's true. Either way, they do the pedophilia type of torture. This is something they do consistently. But they don't only do the pedophilia type of torture, they are actually torturing children sexually. They are nasty. And then for me, because of the humiliation of reality, those entities who are running this program, from DARPA to DOD, those are the people. Those are the entity contracting this shit. The money these people are getting, whatever financial incentive, whatever resources they acquiring, is coming from those entities, in whatever ways. Those entities have a lot of pedophiles. That's the reality of things. There's a problem with pedophilia. And is there a correlation to if that's why this pedophilia type of torment is utilized onto us? Maybe because they're the people architecting these things. This trash, they implement what's available because that's what they're supposed to be doing. Is there a correlation that maybe why they do this pedophilia type of torture is because these agencies have problems with pedophiles and there's a bunch of pedophiles? I don't know about that. But the reality is these entities have a lot of pedophiles. And so, for me, the way they've been countering reality of these things I'm saying, because they do manipulate you in these pedophilia ways and call it being at war, they start saying things like, oh, we're going to watch you scream and all that. And they talk about how they're going to torture me to the point where I'm going to scream and cry. It's like, yes, I will scream, I will cry, but I'll never subscribe and identify with this pedophilia stuff. And you watching me, you coward low life in your pages. What does he do? Is it going to elongate you? Is it going to prolong your life? It means the good life is going to be any better for you? Nothing. Please consume your life doing more of that. Dedicate more time doing these things. They think that's gonna change anything. And they're like, I'm gonna be laughing. No, you're not. You're just gonna be watching me screaming. That's it. They go live your life continuously. Continue to live your life in this disturbing, retarded, disgusting, undignified life. I don't. You think I'll be like, no, you're such a badass now. You still be wearing your PJs and your sweatpants, doing these things. Me, I know who put me in this program. When I scream, I'll be thinking about that person who put me in this program. Not this trash next door that do nothing but this nastiness. They're just trash. I will never give them that fantasy they wanted. I'll be thinking about this man, Ryan Blander, who put me in this program. You know this trash from apartment 13F? Who's gonna watch me? Trash. Please continue to do this. Who's in a program that's literally burning kids? I'm never gonna think about this company that contracted me, that employed me. After I've been making videos and talking about, this program has been torturing men, women, and children around the world, and then be like, nah, because look at us, we're so progressive. Fucking trash. You couldn't even say the name of Roy Moore. Delusional shit. And so now they're gonna be like, you know what they like to say? Is how I'm gonna be tortured and tormented. And I was like, it's gonna be theater of torture. I pray to God to give me strength for whatever torture. That's what I'm trying to say. Is they're gonna torture me in order to counter and block out the reality of what they're in. And maybe and to them that's like validation, that because I'm going to be tortured and scream, that's proof. You see, they believe it's like trash. Everybody knows you do the pedophilia type of torture, but just like you, they all have incentives. If you're trash and your PJs can do that, what's somebody who actually can torture somebody physically? Is that person gonna be like, oh no, man, no, they're doing the pedophilia type of torture? And I was like, what? Let's go burn him too, and do the pedophilia type of torture. They want to live in this fantasy. If this nothingness can do that to me, anybody can do that to me. People who actually do horrible things in person can easily participate and play with this game. But they try to use this as like, we see validation, you're gonna be tortured, they're gonna do that. They make me think that they're gonna cut my ears and do this, and it was like, I'm gonna have to run to that. I don't want that. But because you wanted to delude yourself that if that's happening to me, that means that it's validation. We won. What do you win? I have to run there. I have no choice. You're going to have to look at yourself, like, watch me scream and be like, oh, and then that's it. Go continue to live life. A weak nothing. Who's sounding a certain way, but when you saw that person in person, you're like, oof. Trash. The mistake of nothingness. Just a contracted bottom feeder that the government contracts. And these governmental entities, real pedos, and they're the reason why I'm being tortured, however. And to hear these people, the most disgusting is like, pay for it, die for it. They like to talk about what I did as a kid. And I think they think that it's going to make me identify with the manipulation that I'm experiencing today, because they're like, oh, we mapped it to you when you were a child. You do the pedophilia type of torture. You're not mapping anything. You're just trying to make me believe that what I'm experiencing is something organic or something that I was feeling when I was a child, but you bring it back up because you mapped it back up to me as I'm experiencing this now. It's basically me when I was a child. Trash us. These people who do the pedophilia type of torture. And like, first of all, you do these disgusting pedophilia things where you make people force them in disturbing ways to get sexual stimulations. For me, they do these things and then they're like, oh no, don't you feel like that's something you felt when you were a child? Like, does it not feel familiar to you when you're a child? It's like, no, you're making me experience this. I wasn't not feeling like that when I was a child. I look at a child myself when I was a child and be like, oh, no. Now I'm getting stimulation, even the thoughts of children. Disturbing. And be like, now, and they use these childlike individuals who you look at them, is like, yo, they hire you because you don't have logic. They hire you because you can delude yourself in so many ways. You can make yourself illogical whenever you want. I can see that. You have no shame. So you want me to think that's stupidity? In my brain, they were like, no, you see the word familiar. You felt familiar. It's like, no. You're trying to make me feel this way and then make me think that when I was a child, at some point, I felt like, even that alone shows how retarded I have to be accepting of these things. But forget about just the psychological torture. They actually torture children. This trash who talk about how you gonna die for it, this trash, they live for it. Live for torturing children and covering it. And then try to make people think, grown men and women, to make them think in these retarded ways. Force them to get stimulations and disturbing reaction and be like, no, we mapped it to you when you were like 10 years old. When you're 30, trash ass. When you're in a program that literally renowned for manipulating people in these disgusting pedophilia ways. But you made somebody think like he was a child. And that's supposed to make sense now. Like, as if that's like, this logical. Even that is falsified. But to them, this is like, oh, we're so many things. We're making you think like a child. It's delusional trash. This is falsified. They are making you feel things that you didn't feel at the time. And then try to make it seem like you felt like in certain ways, but kind of create something that can be familiar or you can think that you experienced when you were a kid, in your childhood. And be like, now we mapped it. It's so disturbing. But that's what they do. People who are forcing men and women in these disturbing, disgusting pedophilia ways, and I've been validated in so many ways. It's humiliating the way I'm being validated. Can you imagine somebody say, oh, they do this, they're forcing me, they're changing me to be something I'm not. They do the pedophilia type of torture. Almost all target individuals are forced to think and have child porn implanted in their brain. And they're like, now we mapped it. To all my target individuals, death comes to all of us. I rather crash this way than fucking live life doing what they do.